I never thought a simple letter could turn my life upside down. It arrived on an ordinary afternoon, wrapped in the cold, sterile formality of legalese, but its contents were anything but ordinary. The letter was from a distant relative I barely knew, a man who had passed away under mysterious circumstances. His final request was an enigma wrapped in dread, and it would thrust me into a nightmare I could never have anticipated. Though it was concise and cryptic, it instructed me to follow a series of tasks, each one more cryptic and unsettling than the last. With every instruction, I felt an increasing sense of foreboding. My curiosity, however, was piqued. I had always been drawn to the macabre, but I didn't realize how dangerously close I was about to come to its raw, unfiltered reality. My first task was to retrieve a box from an old, abandoned family estate. The house was a decaying relic of a bygone era, its walls whispering secrets I was not prepared to hear. Inside the box was a collection of faded photographs and a journal. The journal detailed events that hinted at a dark family history when marked by betrayal, secrets, and, most chillingly, a pact with something beyond human comprehension. Each task led me deeper into a web of hidden truths and harrowing experiences. I encountered disturbing symbols, sinister messages, and, worst of all, the ghosts of my ancestors whose tormented spirits seemed to guide, or perhaps mislead, my every step. The trials were designed not only to challenge me physically and mentally, but to reveal the dark underbelly of my own lineage. The final task loomed before me like an inescapable shadow. The instructions led me to a remote, forgotten cemetery where my ancestors' grave was said to be hidden. The path was treacherous, overgrown with thorny vines and obscured by dense fog that clung to the ground like a shroud. As I approached the cryptic grave, a sense of impending dread wrapped around me, tightening with every step. The grave was marked by an ancient, weathered stone. Etched into its surface were cryptic symbols and a name that sent chills down my spine. It was the name of a relative whose existence had been obscured by the family's dark past. The final instruction was to open the crypt and retrieve what lay within. My hands trembled as I pried open the stone slab. Inside, nestled among centuries-old bones and dust, was a small, ornate chest. My heart pounded as I lifted the lid, revealing an object that seemed to pulse with malevolent energy of black, ancient book bound in cracked, dark leather. The moment I touched the book, a cold, malevolent force surged through me, causing my vision to blur and my breath to come in ragged gasps. The book's pages were filled with disturbing illustrations and texts written in an archaic language. As I flipped through them, the images and words seemed to come alive, recounting horrific rituals and unholy pacts made by my ancestors. My hands shook as I read the final passage, a spell that, if recited, would bind the dark entities conjured by the family's past forever. The price of this binding was seep my own soul. The book's sinister power threatened to overwhelm me, and I realized that fulfilling the final task could mean my eternal damnation. Desperation drove me to complete the spell. I began to recite the incantation, my voice trembling as I spoke the ancient words. The atmosphere grew heavy with an oppressive force, and shadows swirled around me, whispering threats and promises. The very air seemed to crackle with malevolent energy. As I reached the final line of the spell, the ground shook violently. The spirits of my ancestors rose from their resting places, their faces twisted in anguish and rage. They converged around me, their presence suffocating and terrifying. I could feel their anger and sorrow as if it were my own. The weight of their collective grief and rage was unbearable, and I could barely stand. In a final, desperate act, I completed the incantation. The shadows that had engulfed me suddenly recoiled, their house fading into eerie silence. The oppressive weight lifted, and the spirits dispersed, leaving me alone in the cold, empty cemetery. Exhausted and broken, I stumbled away from the grave, the book clutched to my chest. I had fulfilled the will's demands, but the cost was high. The darkness I had encountered would forever haunt my dreams and thoughts, a reminder of the price I had paid to unveil the secrets of my cursed lineage. The experience had changed me irreversibly. I had ventured into the darkest corners of my family's history and faced the horrors that lay hidden there. Though I had survived, the shadows of the past would always linger, a chilling reminder of the evil that had been unleashed and the price that had been paid. I buried the book deep within the earth, hoping that it would never be found again. Some secrets, I realized, were meant to remain hidden, and some curses were best left undisturbed. Thank you for joining me on this harrowing journey through the dark well. If you found this story compelling, please like, share, and subscribe for more unsettling tales.